I've always loved Macbeth. I think it's an extraordinary piece of work. What's always fascinated me about that particular play is the relationship between Macbeth and Lady Macbeth, and I've always felt that the best scenes in that play are between them. Macbeth famously says, after he's done the murder, that he's heard a voice saying, "Macbeth shall sleep no more." One thing that really interested me was, from that point, there is this sense of a kind of darkness that exists in this sort of insomniac world. I wanted to find a way of getting into that space. Is it when they're awake? Is it when they sleep? Can they sleep? So those are the things that just kind of got me thinking about what I wanted to do with this piece, and the idea of creating something very intimate for two people. And I always had the image that we would set it on a bed. I suppose the biggest challenge was actually telling the whole story, but just with those two people. And what I didn't want to do was have a version where they put on different hats to play lots of people. I wanted to see whether we could actually tell the whole story just with the text between the two of them. And so I worked with Frances Poet, who is our literary associate, on finding a way in which other speeches, other texts from outside the scenes that were just those two people, and kind of weaving it into the play so that we could tell the whole story. So, for example, at the beginning, instead of Lady Macbeth reading a letter which she's received from Macbeth talking about the witches, we have Macbeth actually speaking the lines of that letter to her as if she's hearing it for the first time. So we were very detailed with the text in the first instance, so absolutely kind of examining every line, making sure that it was completely clear and understandable. It's important, I think, when you're working on a Shakespeare text, if you've got the time, to actually look at a line or a speech or whatever, almost as if it's new, like a piece of new writing. I think we know what lines mean, but actually sometimes, because they're so familiar, particularly in this play, you need to just sort of step back and go, actually, what does that mean? Or what does that line kind of evoke? One of my favourite lines in the play, for example, is "Light thickens and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood." And normally it'd be easy just to sort of pass over that, but I just love this idea of light thickening. And what's happened just before then is that Macbeth has actually called up the powers of darkness of hell, and it's like he's looking out of the window and he can see light thickening. It's almost as if the substance of the air is changing and getting darker and gloopier. So it's that kind of detail, I think, that's really crucial, is actually to go, what does that phrase actually mean? There was only the two of them, there's no real set, the language is doing all the work, and that kind of intensity of image is what we wanted to kind of convey in the original theatre piece, and then take it one step further when we went to do the film. I mean, the piece was always quite intense, but we were able to take that one step further and really create something that was very intense and a bit sort of trippier, but actually being able to, on film, really sort of heighten the sort of madness of that, I think, is something that was really exciting. What was quite interesting was the use of music. The film has a lot more music. It's almost completely underscored with Matthew Whiteside's wonderful, dark, atmospheric music. And pace is the other amazing thing. Often when a play is happening and you can sit there and you watch a play and you go, oh, this bit's a bit slow, or I wish I'd cut that pause there, or things like that. And actually, you can control all those things in a film. You know, the film enabled us just to keep to the intentions of the original stage production and just take those things to another level.